Hence you understand one of the secrets of Shukra is that whenever you are at war, always attack early morning. Until the time Hitler was using that strategy. See, Hitler also had great astrologers around him. And there is a lot of things that he was talking to them, and the whole concept of the swastika being reversed, a lot of things he used it. Certain things in the concept of black magic, if I might say. Hello and namaste, and thank you so much for visiting my channel. My name is Karthik Gaur, and please do subscribe and click the bell icon to ensure that whenever we upload a webinar or a video, you are the first ones to know. Thank you so much. I feel that a picture talks about many words, So here there is a couple, where the wife or the partner is trying to sort of grab the neck, so not sort of a very happy sort of a marriage or not sort of a happy relationship. And then there is a beautiful ring over here as well. So Venus has a lot of things to do with the difference between the ring and the suffering. Okay, so are you in that zone where you are happy and you are able to sort of have a very blissful life, wonderful relationship, wonderful husband and wife, wonderful kids, wonderful home, good ambience, everything that's there is something, which is very, very comfortable and cozy. And believe me, there are many who are very, very lucky in that aspect of life. Okay, but at times, people get into these problems as well, be it sometimes self-created, be it because of a bad dasha, be it sometimes due to an affliction to Venus or a transitional period. Okay, so what we are going to do is, first and foremost, we need to understand why is Venus the karaka for the seventh house. Okay, why not moon? If it has got everything to do just with the sexual act, then moon is a master at it, right? Moon has got ultimate jala. Moon is the ultimate sort of Casanova, or the right person, or excellent in bed, so to say. But in spite of that, it is Venus which is the karaka for the seventh house. So what does it mean? It truly means that marriage is not just about physical intimacy, but it's also about emotions. It's also about compassion. It's also about putting the other person a little ahead than yourself. I talked about it in the one of the previous videos, where I told you that, hey, Upapada, which is so important to analyze the quality of marriage, or where are you supposed to meet your spouse, and the general quality of your Upapada or your married life itself, is associated with the 12th Lord. And the 12th house is the house associated with the expenditure or the house of giving, depending on the way you think. So the moment you are not happy giving, that's an expenditure or a loss. The moment you're a happy person, you are very happy giving, and you are a person who is by default always happy to give, then it's a house associated with donation, house associated with giving, house associated with creating positive karmas by the concept of giving. And that is something which most of you need to understand, that when it comes to Venus and when it comes to Upapada, it's all about giving. And hence the karaka for the seventh house is Venus, because it's not just the act which is important, but it is more importantly, how do you spend your life together? Generally the couple split, when they can't see life together, or when they are not in the same page. So Venus brings that ability, Venus brings that compassion, Venus brings that spark. Now that is a common word which I keep hearing in today's time. That, hey, my marriage doesn't have a spark anymore. What does it mean? Venus is diminishing. Venus needs a little ghee. There is some oil, some ghee required, some swaha shakti, to ensure that you rekindle that passion. And what do couples generally do? They go out for a overnight somewhere, or they sort of go for a romantic dinner, or have a candlelight dinner at home, with the right sort of an ambience, mood lighting, everything to make that seventh house more positive for you. So the first thing which is required for a marriage is obviously that compassion, the commitment. Commitment is very important, and that is a major reason why Venus, beats Moon to become a Karaka for the seventh house. Moon doesn't believe in, one life, one wife. You know, Moon doesn't believe in the concept of being stable with one person. Hence, when you have Moon in the seventh house, there is a little problem happening, especially in the Navamsha, because that Jala is too much for a person to handle. Whereas Venus, in spite of a person having a Jala, there is that commitment which is there. Okay, so this is very important. See, always understand even the Karakas very logically. It is not that the rishis made a lucky draw, and based on which planet gets which house, or whoever wins in that lucky draw is the planet which is going to be the Karaka of that particular house. It doesn't work like that, right? There is a lot of logic, and you need to understand the logic to understand a graha or the house or the karakas, and later on you will start understanding which planet is good in which house, which rashi is good for which planet is absolutely no for a particular house or aruda or etc. Those are all things you will understand slowly. Okay. Now, the other important part is Venus is generally private sector. When you talk about planets, then government is more like Surya, Venus is more like private sector, whereas Chandra gives you a lot of those government services in foreign service or those sort of bureaucratic roles, so to say. Okay, and within that, obviously, you can then break it up to other planets, ruling other ministries, etc. You know, but what I mean to say is Shukra rules your ability to deal with your private sector. It is your passion, and I always say that passion is something which is so important in a profession, and hence Venus becomes such an important aspect of your career. Many a times we meet professionals who have absolutely no pressure, or let's we say no passion at all when it comes to their work. You meet, for example, I can give you an example where I just met two insurance guys last week, via Zoom, and one of them was like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, what do you want to do? Okay, we have this, whereas the other guy was so involved that, hey Karthik, don't do this, probably this is a better option, based on my experience I feel that this can be a better thing, that can be a better thing. So immediately for me, the second person that I met was the person that I saw who had a lot of passion. It was not just work. He was not just doing a commission thing, where at the end of the sale probably he's going to make 10%, 15%, whatever it is. That is a byproduct. But what he was trying to sell me was his passion, his knowledge, the the compassion that he had, and the compassion he had invested in his profession, and that comes from Shukra. Okay, and that is something which is so important to understand. Okay, and more importantly, it also rules the private sector. See, private sector doesn't mean that you will work only with private sector. See, sometimes a person can be working in a government sector, but money can be coming from private sector. Person can be working in a banking scenario, but your clientele is more of a private sector. A lot of time, in sales, people have this verticals where a particular area manager has got, let's say, government sector, somebody has a private sector, somebody has an SME, somebody has IT as a sector, whatever it is, you know So when it comes to profiling, or sometimes, you can choose your clientele because those clientele will be very profitable for you. It's easier for you to deal with that clientele. That's a higher level of Jyotish when you start doing your bifurcation of market strategies and all, where you start working on, hey, which clients are lucky for me, which are low hanging fruits for me, where can I make my easy money from, and which are the tough customers, or certain customers, frankly speaking, I should let it go, because no matter how much ever I do for them, no matter if I give them my right arm, they are not going to be happy. So sometimes we have to understand that you can never say that the whole world is my clientele. You can never say that, hey, I sell a product for everybody. Your product should have a profiling, and profiling should be made on certain aspects based on the planets which are very good for you. Okay. Now, Venus also rules kids. Now, though Jupiter is the Karaka for the fifth house, and Jupiter is also associated with the kids, but we need to understand that the process of creation of kids is very important. Imagine a couple, not spending quality time, or not able to consummate marriage, and they are able to, and they are going to complain that, hey, we aren't having kids. Then, frankly speaking, you are in the wrong era. In Kali Yuga, we follow the process. You are not a rishi. You can't meditate and produce kids. You can't have manas putras. You don't have that tapabala, or you don't have that ability to create manas putras and have child without the process of creation of child. So more than the fifth from Jupiter, which is seen after a child is born, in terms of, how your yoga is with the kids, whether they are good to you, whether they are bad to you, and the differences that you have with your kids. To have kids, fifth from Venus becomes most important, because that is the quality of sperm, that is the quality of egg, that is the whole physical process of fertilization which happens. And this is such an important tip I'm sharing with you, that when it comes to kid, most of the people are looking at the fifth house. Most of the people look at fifth from Jupiter or Mercury. There are different things that people look to find out issues related to progeny. But as basics, you need to start from Venus and fifth from Venus, whether the quality of sperm is good enough to fertilize an egg. Okay, so these are all things which are very important. And Shukra does that. Shukra is your Reta. Shukra is the sperm. Shukra is also your Mrityunjaya. Do you know that the Mrityunjaya mantra, is associated with Shukra? And that Jum Bija, see, that Jum Bija has an ability to even bring the dead man alive. And that Jum Bija is associated with Shukra. Generally we do Om Jum Sa. Okay. And if you can't do the whole Mrityunjaya mantra, then you can every day morning do a simple mantra called Om Jum Sa. Even just, in the morning when you wake up, or you are not feeling low in energy, you are getting not the right vibes for the day, just start repeating Om Jum Sa. 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 You will see that slowly as you start repeating, though you are feeling a little lethargic, a little feverish on that day, within like 5 minutes of saying that, you will feel very, very energized. Automatically you will see that your energy level is high. A webinar which you are doing with an average sort of an energy suddenly has grown. That level has grown up. Suddenly your pranas have become much more stronger. So can you do that daily? The answer is yes. Can you do that while offering Panchamrita or milk or water to Shiva? Absolutely. Because he is the one, what you offer to him, you are going to get back. So offer milk or Panchamrita to Mahadev with Jum Bija. And that is the Mrityunjaya. And Frankly speaking, in today's time or any of those time, can you get a planet which is better than Venus for your sansara? It is going to ensure you get married. It is going to ensure that your sperms are fertilized enough to give you progeny and kids. It is going to ensure that your prosperity is there. It is going to give you intelligence as well. See, if you remember, and if you go back to the videos which I did on the Navagrahas, and specifically when I talked about Jupiter and Venus, and I've clearly mentioned that Shukra is a planet which is purely associated with, and it is a guru, and it is associated with passion. And there are only two gurus in your horoscope. One is Jupiter, one is Venus. So though Shukracharya, a lot of people might feel that, hey, it is associated with the Asuras. Asuras in today's time is nothing but your corporate life. Right? In your corporate life, you are not meeting people who are meditating. You are not meeting people who are so-called living a very, very non-commercial life. You are dealing with cutthroat competition. You are dealing with people who are out there to do better than the other one. So who helps you? It is your passion. It is Shukra. And Shukra is so important in matters of prosperity. And I always tell Jyotish students who keep asking me, hey Karthik, do you feel I can become successful in Jyotish? Do you think I can learn Jyotish? And I always say that, hey, learning Jyotish is different to actually being able to make a career out of Jyotish, or to make, get financial stability, or to ensure that, you can have it as an alternative career or a main career or whatever it is. To ensure you get it as a profession, or to ensure that you get financial success, it is Venus that you require. Hence, the two gurus are said to be very important. One is your intellect, your credibility, your ability. The other is your passion, which ensures that it brings in finances. And together, when they combine, it is called as Dviguru Yoga. When Jupiter and Venus are together in a chart, especially in a Kendra, it is brilliant. And I would always say that if there is a sambandh between Jupiter and Venus in any form, sometimes they are 1/7 from each other, Graha Drishti, Rashi Drishti, then it is fantastic. And don't sort of take Venus lightly, because there is a dark side to Venus as well, and that is their ability to take revenge. Okay, they say that your women's revenge is always very tough to deal with. It is easier to deal with a revenge of somebody whom you are expecting. But imagine a woman with a knife and anger, she can be absolutely fatal. Hence, sometimes, men, or certain times bosses, take women power very lightly, or they take Shukra very lightly, because a planet that has got passion will also have an ability to get back at you. Hence, you understand one of the secrets of Shukra is that whenever you are at war, always attack early morning. Until the time Hitler was using that strategy. See, Hitler also had great astrologers around him. And there is a lot of things that he was talking to them, and the whole concept of the swastika being reversed, a lot of things he used it. Certain things in the concept of black magic, if I might say. But nonetheless, there was an advice given to him, and every time he used to strike early in the morning. That period in the morning, which is vulnerable period, roughly around 4 to 6, is said to be as a period to attack. And till the time he was using that strategy, he couldn't be defeated. Later on, there was a change of strategy, and he changed from that strategy. That was the time when Germany started losing the war. So that Venus strategy was turning out to be fantastic for him. Now these are some of the tips, even for launching product line, and a lot of other things can be used for this. Okay, so don't forget that revenge part of it. There is a famous saying that I love you like I hate you. And then there is a famous Hindi song also. you know and it is associated purely with Venus and seventh house, the house of love and war, and I love you like I hate you. Okay, so don't underestimate the power of Shukra can actually give you a lot. In fact, it can give you everything if Shukra is beneficial, because it is the power of Mahalakshmi, it is the power of lotus. And don't forget the power of lotus. Okay, if you follow politics and if you understand what I mean to say, that lotus is currently very, very powerful in the chart of India. Okay, it has also fine eye for detail. See, Shukra is associated with eyes. They say that a passion is always created within eyes. Hence you go to this, hence you see the culture of a club or culture of places of meeting and dating and all. There's always a right side of a mood, and but everybody can have an eye contact, and because of that atmosphere or because of that climate, even the most ugly person can look very beautiful. It's only later on that a person repents, but at least at that point of time, everybody feels that the lady that I'm looking at is Marilyn Monroe, or the guy that I'm looking at is nothing less than a Brad Pitt or a Robert Downey Jr. You understand? So that is the camouflage, that is a bit of Rahu involved in that pure Venus. But that purity of Venus is a good sort of an eye contact, and which builds an integrity. A lot of people have this, that the moment they have an eye contact with somebody, they can almost understand that something is fishy or that person is correct, right? Many times we go through that, while somebody is speaking, and if they can't see eye to eye with you, then there is something fishy. And this is a very common way how the criminals are caught by police. They are piercing their eyes, just to ensure what is their agenda. And ultimately, that second house relationship, see, natural zodiac, if you see, starting from Aries, the second house is Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Okay, the seventh house of sexuality or marriage or union is again Tula, which is again ruled by Venus. So they say if you haven't seen somebody, it is very tough to develop that passion and compassion with somebody else. So what did the rishis do? The great rishis said that, hey, I don't want to be associated with that at all. So I'm not going to see women at all, or I'm not going to see men at all. The moment I see, there can be a Rahu impact on me. I might sort of feel like, hey, even if I'm a sadhu, even though I'm a nun, I want to start getting married. I want to have a family. I actually like this guy. I actually like this girl. And the whole tapasya is gone for a toss. Why? Because now suddenly a person who was meditating for 4 hours a day and doing puja for the 8 hours a day suddenly has started liking a woman. Why? Because he saw him in the temple. And now he feels that, hey, I want a little bit of married life also. And later on, once they marry, probably they want to have a kid. Once they have a son, they feel that, hey, I should have a daughter as well. Now they have a daughter, and now he's into everything. So the very, very spiritual people or people who have renounced, they understand that there is a trap in that whole eye business, the contact business. Hence, whatever they want to see, they see with the power of meditation rather than, physically trying to see. They always leave it to the God, and they will show you what has to be seen. So just with the power of meditation, they start answering questions. You understand how deep this particular topic can be. But as part one, I'm trying to, tell you a few details, so you understand the good and bad of every planet. By now, you are sure with my teaching style that I am not going to scare you. At the same time, I am not going to give you impractical advice also. Right? So, Venus has a great positive side, but the negative side is also there. Like we talked about the positive side of a Ketu, right? Being that it is a spiritual planet, but then the negative part is it is also associated with terrorism because it can get radical. Okay, so it's very important to understand everything, every situation, every planet, every concept, you know, on the positive and a negative side, and then there will always be a gray side to it. Okay, Venus is very important, especially in Navamsha. When I start teaching you Navamsha and other things, you'll understand how important Venus becomes. It gives you an ability to actually, you know, be a great project manager or somebody who has got great observation skills. It gives you a great ability to sort of what do you call fine eye for detail. And if you are in a profession which requires very detailing, then Venus has to be the planet which has to help you. You know, great designers, or when you see those painters who are painting, let's say, a Ganesha or a Lakshmi with even minutest of the detail, then you can, just by looking at the painting, you can come to know how, that the Venus of that painter is, or the Venus of that sculpture is. Because if Venus is very, very, very strong, then that person is going to get into very, very nitty gritties and get into very, very detailed understanding of whatever they do. If they're a project manager, then they exactly know, what is going on in the project, and at what point there'll be a go live which has to be done, what time there has to be tests to be done, what is each member of my team doing, everything has to be planned. They can actually pick out mistakes very easily. Why? Because they can see what is not right in that plan, or they can see what is not right in that presentation. They can see what is not right in the things that have been given to them. And that is a great ability. Okay. So always understand that it has got a great passion. And what we will do is we will understand Venus from the concept of stability of life. See, now you know that seventh house and Venus is very important. So just that Karaka of the seventh house, and what is seventh house? It is Tula. And what is the Chinha, or what is the logo being used by Libra? It is nothing but a sort of a weighing scale, what we call it as Taraju. So you have to maintain that balance of a family life and your office, or what you call it as work-life balance. So your work-life balance as a concept is a very Tula concept. It's a very seventh house concept. If you correlate it with the things that we understood in the Surya webinar, okay, the videos that we have related to Shri Surya, you will understand that 7 p.m. was sunset and it was in the seventh house. So again, that Tula becomes like Aries becomes your starting point and your setting point. So your life is all about your starting point and setting point. Are you able to maintain that balance, or are you tilted very heavily on one side, which will impact very badly the other side of your life? Okay, so now I keep on telling you these hints so that whenever I'm teaching you, you can correlate it with the videos that we have already done. You can correlate it with the webinars and the things that we have already done. That is how I used to learn. The moment I used to hear something, I used to correlate it with the things I've heard it before. That's how you grow. That's how your knowledge grows. That's how within a span of 1 or 2 years, you all are going to be a brilliant Jyotishis. Provided, your Lagna is expanding, you're able to understand things, a little differently. Namaste Jyotisha lovers. Thank you so much for viewing the video. Please do share so more and more thirsty souls can benefit from this free knowledge which is being shared. Also do subscribe, click the bell icon, and all the questions that you have, please mention in the comment section below. Thank you so much, and please keep supporting us.